Oh, wait. It says it reconnected? Alright. So OBS told me it lost connection. And now it's regained connection. We're gonna have a break in the VOD now, which that's great. It says it's broke that. It looks like I am live again. I don't know if you missed it. If we missed a screen or two, Godot was just talking about how it's not weird. You're laughing. Basically, he's like, you may not have known this, but sometimes it is unwieldy to use a sword in close quarters combat, so maybe she threw it away to use a dagger. He said something along those lines. In case that wasn't there, it might have been there or not. I'm not sure when it got lost. Anyway, the type of weapon she chose to use isn't what's important. The important thing is that she tried to kill Maya Fey. As long as there's nothing strange about that, there's no problem with her testimony. There is something strange about this whole testimony.
Well, Mr. Wright, the prosecution has a point.
Oh, very well, Your Honor. The defense will now present evidence to back its argument. Mr. Wright, I have here another piece of evidence that shows that this testimony can't be trusted. Because Miss Elise Donim would never attempt to take the life of Maya Fey. What is my thing that says... It says Misty Fey. Elise... Is it just... Elise... Or maybe it's the Master's Talisman, but it's probably just, this is updated. Real name, Misty Fey, Mom's mother. I have to assume it's just her profile at this point. Okay. Elise Donim would never have attacked Maya Fey. How can you be so sure? Because the victim's real name was not Elise Donim. Her real name was... Misty Fey.
Fey?
No, not Mystic Misty Fey.
Who is this Misty Fey? Is she related to...
Misty Fey is the master of the crane channeling technique. She is also the mother of Maya Fey.
Are you serious?
Is it really true, Mr. Wright? Was Elise Donim actually the great Mystic Misty? There's no doubt about it. Looks like Iris had no idea. I can hardly believe it. The idea that she would try to kill her only daughter, one she hadn't seen in 17 years. Perhaps the prosecution can offer some explanation for why she would do such a thing.
Order in the court. Upon first hearing the witness's testimony, it seemed natural enough. However, in light of some facts that have just been presented. 1. That the victim supposedly threw away a sword during a fight. 2. That the two people bound to the death were mother and daughter. Despite the facts being believable when taken on their own. When taken together, the entire story seems difficult to believe.
There's nothing in this world that is impossible. Except for one little thing. Up to 58.
Yes. What is this one little impossible thing?
Ah, you still don't get it. You think maybe my beans are under roasted, but you have no idea, Gramps. Could you get to your point? I heard this witness's confession this morning. Just as I had taken the first sip of my 8th cup of morning coffee. My dude, you're on like cup 5 already.
You're going to ruin your health, my friend.
Anyway, after hearing this woman's confession, I had a detective who loves to investigate sent to the scene of the crime. And he discovered this little beauty.
Is that the dagger the witness testified to seeing?
Obviously, Your Honor. But do you not notice something else? Do you not notice something else?
Now that you mention it, if you look closely, there appears to be blood on it.
Where did you find that? I didn't see that when I investigated the crime scene. Did you investigate the pine tree at the crime scene? Huh? The pine tree? This dagger was stuck in the backside of the pine tree. From an angle you could not have even seen. When the last blow was struck, ending the violent battle between the two limbs, this little baby was thrown in the direction of the back of the pine tree.
Which means the blood on this dagger belongs to the victim, correct?
Ah, were you even listening, old man? I first heard this confession this morning, just as I had taken the first sip of my 13th cup of morning coffee. Uh-oh. I think Godot does have some issues. Didn't you say it was your 8th just a few minutes ago? I didn't have enough time to get the blood analyzed on such short notice.
In any case, the court will accept the dagger as evidence. Furthermore, I order that a blood test be performed on it immediately.
This is my sweetheart. Make sure you treat her right.
Bailiff, get this piece of evidence to the crime lab for testing immediately.
Dagger added to the court record. Found behind a tree in the inner temple garden. The blood is being analyzed now. Phoenix's crippling weakness, the third dimension. It's really funny. I like how he's like, did you check behind the tree? And it's like they even show you that like you couldn't have checked behind the tree. We didn't give you that angle. That was kind of a fun like little Ludo narrative moment there.
Now then, the testimony we've just heard had numerous unbelievable aspects to it. However, after having found the very dagger the witness spoke of, I believe we can consider her testimony to be credible.
A cute girls never lie, ever. Cute girl, what the... Okay, we know he's just saying that to be a shit, because Godot definitely knows cute girls lie all the time.
In any case, witness, if you could please testify again to this court.
About what, Your Honor?
About the incident you saw, the battle between the two women. Were they, in mud or anything?
Like, goddamn, Judge, calm down. Yes, Your Honor. The battle. Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with the staff, but then she dodged Mystic Lisa's next attack and stole her weapon. Suddenly, Mystic Elise was the one in the defensive, with her back to the stone lantern. That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed.
That was a very heartbreaking story.
I don't know if there were any bad feelings between them, but it had been 17 years since Mystic Misty's disappearance. Perhaps they simply didn't recognize each other anymore.
That seems reasonable. Now then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination.
Oh, I'm so glad to have the regular judge back. That Canadian one just kicked my ass. Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with the staff. Iris, where were you standing when you witnessed all this? What do you mean? Well, if either of them had noticed you, they might not have continued their battle. I wonder if that's true. The two of them, they were standing near the garden stone lantern. I was watching the whole thing from behind. It was dark where the two of them were, so I think that's why they didn't see me.
So it was dark in the garden when the murder took place. Tell me, what did Miss Maya say to after she was struck?
But then she dodged Mystic Elisa's next attack and stole her weapon. What happened to the victim's staff then? I'm not sure.
The area was very dark, so I really couldn't see. I think it got knocked away somewhere as the fight escalated.
That makes sense. That would explain the need for the dagger.
Mystic Elise raised the dagger to strike, but Mystic Maya dodged it at the last second. The dagger struck the lantern and fell to the ground. Then at some point, Mystic Maya picked it up.
Nothing sounds especially strange yet.
What did the victim do when the weapon was stolen from her?
Suddenly, Mystic Elise was the one on the defensive, with her back to the stone lantern.
You're saying that Wow. You're saying that Maya Fey turned the tables on the victim?
Yes. But Mystic Maya wasn't herself at the time. After all, her life was in danger.
I still can't believe it. The idea of Maya cornering someone at knife point, it's just silly. And we're to 60. Godot was just pounding these cups of coffee. As they say, a cornered fox is more dangerous than a jackal. I believe the correct description of a cornered fox is scared and petrified. Your animal analogies have grown tiresome. I was really about to say like analogies right there. You were the one who started it.
Anyway, so after Maya Fey backed the victim into the stone lantern, what happened next?
That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise.
Are you absolutely certain of what you saw?
Yes, I'm almost certain.
Almost.
The garden was dark. I couldn't really tell who was who.
What did she just say? So in other words, it could have been someone else entirely? We know that Maya Fey was at the inner temple that night. Oh, 237. And that the woman that was killed was Elise O'Neill. Isn't it fairly obvious who attacked who? Ugh, I don't have anything to counter that yet.
Well done, witness. Please continue with your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor. The two of them faced each other for a moment. Then Mystic Maya rushed straight into Mystic Elise. The Mystic Elise doubled over and fell to the ground.
So she was stabbed in the stomach, huh?
Yes. Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed.
Where did that dagger go?
I have no idea. It was dark and I couldn't see.
According to the detective who found the dagger, it was stuck into the pine tree in the garden. Most likely it was flung towards the tree after the struggle.
That is the most likely explanation, yes.
After being stabbed in the stomach, did the victim collapse right away?
Now that I think of it, she seemed to stare at Mystic Maya for a while. And Mystic Maya stood there, not moving an inch. It felt for a moment like time had just stopped. But then, suddenly, as if the spell had worn off, Mystic Elise fell over.
Seems like a reasonable story at first, but it's one thing that is completely impossible. The very idea of Maya stabbing someone. That alone is impossible, which means this faulty testimony must contain another contradiction in it somewhere. I appreciate Phoenix is like, no way Maya could have done that. Okay. So, loss of blood from stabbing back. Yeah, okay. Alright. I'm gonna save here. One, because I'm a coward, but two, I'm a little bit unsure, actually, if it wants it on this one or this one. Because it mentions with her back to the stone lantern, and that's when Mystic Maya stabbed Elise. But they give us this picture here, which makes me feel like I need to present it on. Oh, but this was the one that... Man, this is really getting me here. They give us the picture here, though. I feel like this picture is the clue that we're meant to use it on that one. Even though, like, I would say it'd be this one, because she mentioned her back is to the stone lantern. This is talking about when she stabbed her, though. I think... The fact they give us the picture is what makes me think it has to be this one. It could have been both, too, to be fair. I don't know. Something about you just isn't right today, Iris. Huh? Until now, I didn't think you were the type to make such a careless mistake. However, the testimony you just gave contains quite a few contradictions.
What do you mean? What's so wrong about my testimony?
According to you, Maya Fey stabbed the victim while she had her back to the stone lantern, correct?
Yes, that's right.
But in that case, the victim would have been stabbed in the stomach, right?
Yes, I think so.
But, according to the autopsy report, the cause of death was due to blood loss from a stab wound in her back. Ah, this proves that the victim was stabbed from behind, not from the front. Sister Iris, it appears another seed of doubt has sprouted from your testimony. Backstabbed. Well, hey, man. Hey there.
What? What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright?
Ah, it's simple. People are like books. We've all got a front and a back. You get my drift. Dale, for your own health, you should slow down on this coffee. You said my name right first try. Really? I'm gonna say that's because of the... because despite knowing that he was Diego Armando, because I have played this before, he gave himself the name Godot. So I'm having... I mean, I can't do a good French accent anyways, but I'm having it as a... Way He-Man. Oh, that's an interesting way of doing that. I see Wahey, and I'm like... Yo, I gotta rep my man Blubber. Banjo-Kazooie. And Tooie. Although he doesn't do as much in that one. Actually, he does arguably just as much, but that's because that does more. So yeah, me giving him a bad French accent is more me trying to do a little, like, diegetic thing that he is himself doing a bad French accent. Because of his fake identity. Technically it's Wahoo. But it beats Wahee. Yeah, that's fair.
Is that all you have to say?
I can also say the darkness loves to play with the human mind. Could you please knock it off with the cheesy proverbs and illogical metaphors already? Wow, I was about to say proverbs. Crazy brain moment there. Yes. I mean, I'm just really bad at accents in general, but the idea there is that explains it there a little bit, yes. The point is, too much of this testimony just doesn't make sense. Throwing away a useful staff, people fighting being mother and daughter, and now she falsely claims the victim was stabbed in the stomach.
There certainly are some inconsistencies.
Well, Iris, how about it?
Well, it's just...
If you ask me, you're just being too naive about the whole thing. What do you mean? There are 253 distinct types of bitterness in coffee. But to pick out each one requires total concentration and the use of all the senses. Were you really concentrating on what this witness actually said?
Prosecutor Godot, explain yourself.
The witness was quite unambiguous about her own ambiguities when she said. Say coffee count, is this total throughout trial and tribulation or just this case? The total throughout the game. I'm specifically just counting him getting the mugs of coffee. So when they've been sliding across. I do these counters because you may say I have an objection counter there too. They're a little loosey-goosey, but they just give me some kind of thing to do while we're going through here. Although the second game was really fun. The way I was counting Francisca using her whip and the objection counter for that game ended up being almost the same total. Is it where I give the judge a southern accent and Okai voice like back in my day? Oh, back in my day. No, I think that's perfectly fine. I was actually trying to do a southern voice for the other judge before the game mentioned he was Canadian in the localization, and that threw me off completely. That the garden was dark and she couldn't see clearly. A human needs one thing to see clearly, and that is light. Light. I maintain that while French is correct for Godot, it should be Quebecois French. Yeah, if I could do that, I do agree with you. I think that would have made the joke better for this. By the way, did you know? Hazekura has a rule that on night when a acolyte is at the inner temple training, the stone lantern in the garden must be kept lit. Did wonder what that stone lantern was there for.
Well, if that's true, shouldn't the witness have been able to see the crime more clearly?
Normally, yes, Your Honor, but according to the head nun, Sister Bikini, on the night of the crime, it was impossible to light that stone lantern. Impossible? It hadn't been used in a long time, and the wick was no good. In other words, it had to have been nearly pitch black in the garden that night. There could have been a faint light coming from the training hall, but that's all. So I'm talking like a PI in a black and white movie because of the music. Yeah, I could see that. Now, admittedly, I've always I just, because of Gumshoe's trench coat, deal with him. Although one could argue that's actually too serious a voice for him. And Inspector Gadget really fits Gumshoe very well, too. Who was just a variant on that, really. No, but I think that's part of the fun of these things, though, is having your own interpretations and seeing how they compare to others.
Most would like to know.
Yes, that illuminating fact has chased all the contradictions away. Actually, here Gumshoe as Patrick Warburton. It does feel like a role Patrick Warburton would do very good at. I could see that. I could see that a lot, actually. If the staff was dropped, it would be difficult to see. It also explains why they didn't recognize each other. We can't see the demons that lurk in the night. That's why humans are weak. Isn't that right, Wright? No.
Order, order, order.
Here, Your Honor, let me present this stone lantern into evidence. Maybe it will rekindle the flame of truth in your mind. So lantern add to the court record. A lantern from the inner temple garden was not lit night of the crime. Oh, how do you like investigations as Edgeworth with Gumshoe instead of Maya at your side? So, Key's passing that, that's fine. So I have played actually both investigations too, because I got the anthology, I played the first and second one. I think that's a lot of fun. I appreciate that the investigation game ease up Edgeworth on Gumshoe some. Because he is still pretty harsh with him, even by this game. And there you see him finally starting to kind of realize a little bit what he has in Gumshoe. I also think it's really fun to have Kay with you. I think it's the fourth case in the second investigations one kind of breaks my heart with what happens to Kay. I'm not going to say too much more about that, but I'm pretty sure that it's fine because the person who that'd be a spoiler for, she hasn't been checking these VODs, so. Oh, you meant the investigation section in the beginning of the case, not the investigation game that we actually played, though. That's... You know what? I should have thought of that. I mean, that's just a fun one. I do recommend those, especially now that they've had them released as a collection, so you can get the second one too. But not going over that. I think that was a nice way to give it a little bit of a different vibe. They do a pretty good job there of balancing, because the harder thing about writing Edgeworth is because he's less of a bumbling fool. When weird eccentricities and weird things happen or he fails, they gotta write around that a little bit harder than they do with Phoenix, where Phoenix would just be a dumbass. Definitely Apollo Justice Trilogy. I'm gonna try to get investigations. Oh, okay. I think it's good. I would put, even though it's only 2 games, I would probably put it over the Apollo Trilogy for me. It's probably close. They probably work out about the same, really. Plus, I got some recency bias. I haven't actually revisited the Apollo Justice Trilogy, so I'm just remembering those games, and I did not have a very kind first impression of Apollo Justice, like a lot of people coming off of it fresh. Learning from the inner temple garden was not lit the night of the crime. Wonder what the judge is about to talk about. Why is the judge just sitting there with that look on his face? What's wrong, Your Honor? Was that flame too hot? Right. I forgot that of all the things. Yeah.
This lantern. There's something written on it. But why? It's written in blood.
Oh, boy. So the judge didn't know about that yet. Written in blood? Phoenix, man, why does Godot have to spell it out to you? He already told you he has trouble seeing stuff. And you know from the case in the goddamn restaurant that he had a hard time seeing the ketchup there. And he has a big freaking red visor. It's fine. We love Phoenix. He just doesn't logic these things out like Edgeworth does.
It says Maya upside down.
What? What's it?
Oh yes, that's right. After being cornered and then stabbed by Mystic Maya, Mystic Elise didn't fall down right away. She must have been writing that on the stone lantern behind her, with the blood that was draining out of her body.
It certainly looks that way.
Hang on just a minute. What are you all talking about?
What do you mean? What are we all talking?
Oh wait, sorry.
What do you mean? What are we all talking about?
I can't. I always want to give it a try, but I cannot. I'm very bad at that. Oh, man. As Wanda Pierce from BoJack Horseman once said, if you wear rose-colored glasses, all the red flags just look like flags. We're talking about the message written in blood.
Humph, nonsense.
This lantern, it's as clean as a whistle. Could it be? He can't see the bloody writing at all? Now that I think of it, he did say something to me yesterday. I know, Phoenix. My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything. So that's what he meant by that.
In any case, this is obviously an important clue. We now know that the crime scene was dark, and that the victim scrawled this message on the stone lantern. Well, Mr. Godot, anything further? Mr. Godot?
Okay then. Let's move on. Godot is literally shaking, and somehow, I don't think it's from caffeine overdose.
I believe it has now been established that Miss Dahlia was killed by Maya Fey.
That's just wrong. Now it's time to turn our attention to you.
Yes, sir.
After the victim died, you did something, didn't you? Let's hear it. We're all ears. Sister Iris's cover-up.
After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya. I thought it was my duty to protect the future master of the Karain tradition, so I removed the body from the inner temple by myself. I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge. Then I used the snowmobile to carry it back to Hazakura Temple and... I used the Shichishito to alter the way the wound looked.
It's funny, I just finished this case like less than a month ago. Oh, so you're actually recently getting into the Ace Attorney games. That's cool to hear. I played these way back in the day when they came over to America, but that was ages ago. I was much more of a baby then.
So you moved the body?
Yes, I was raised at Hazakura Temple. I owe a great deal of thanks to the Fae clan, but even so, I never imagined that Elise Donin was actually Misty Fae. I've committed a terrible sin.
A terrible trick of fate.
I believe you're looking for a twist of fate, Your Honor.
I intended to return to the inner temple after taking care of the body, but...
You were spotted by the headlong, correct?
Yes, and that's why I couldn't go back.
The story makes sense, I suppose. Mr. Wright, go ahead with your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. Kinda. I liked them a few years ago, fell out, then came back in. Huh. I could see that too. Depending on like how long it takes you to go through some of them. And some of the cases are not great. Obviously, being on the third game here, we've seen the Big Berry Circus case. And just in this game, the restaurant case was not particularly great either. Sister Iris's cover-up.
After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya.
And if I'm being completely honest, in the first game, Steel Samurai case I have some affection for, but a lot of that is the nostalgia of it being the first standalone case, kind of like that. It does have its sloppy parts. And Rise from the Ashes, what I do like is a giant bear of a case and is draining. I gave up on Turnabout Samurai because I was a stupid ass. Sometimes though, they like if you get stuck too. So you waited until everything was over before making a move? I still am, but to a lesser extent. I'd say aren't we all, but sometimes I feel like I've become more of a stupid ass with time. Like I probably peaked when I was like 22.
No, it's not like that.
She saw someone murdered right in front of her eyes. It's not surprising that she was a little timid.
Yes, I suppose that's true. Sometimes when I'm watching lawyers argue back and forth with each other, I feel so helpless that I just sit quietly and wait for them to reach a conclusion.
Isn't it your job as the judge to mediate the argument?
It wasn't until Mystic Maya saw me that it finally dawned on her what she had done. I thought it was my duty to protect the future master of the Karain tradition.
So then, you knew? You knew the significance of the name Maya Fey?
Yes, of course I did.
That's odd. I mean, Sister Bikini didn't recognize Maya's name, let alone her position.
Anyway, she was a very special person indeed. So I removed the body from the inner temple by myself.
Why did you do that?
Because I didn't want Mystic Maya to be suspected in any way. I thought the best thing would be to remove the body from the crime scene.
You moved her body all by yourself?
Yes, I did. It would have been impossible if it wasn't for the snow.
The snow, huh?
I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge.
It's pretty amazing you could make it all the way across. That's a rickety old bridge.
It looks worse than it is. It's surprisingly sturdy despite its age.
It's like they say, idiots are too stupid to catch even a simple cold. But there's one other thing that bothers me. Why not just throw the body into the Eagle River? Wait, can I see something? I forgot this case. What do you need to see? It would have been much easier than dragging it all the way to Hazakura Temple.
I thought that it would still cast too much suspicion on Mystic Maya.
Court record, weather info? Sure. You mean the bridge being on fire? Although I believe she's trying to say that was early before that happened, but yeah. It's actually really funny because in the first trial day, you have a thing where you present the weather info, and they're like, you can't use the weather info, dog. Weather info is fake. And it's like, fine, here's the scene of the crime. We know snow was not happening anymore when it happened. I hope that was long enough. I was trying to talk over a little bit too.
Thought that it would still cast too much suspicion on Mystic Maya. That's why I tried to take the body as far away as possible.
Ah, makes perfect sense to me. For the time being. Anyway, what did you do after you crossed the bridge?
Then I used the snowmobile to carry it back to Hazakura Temple and...
The snowmobile? Knew that would show up sooner or later. That was just Von Karma thinking it was a forecast, but again, I forget this case. That was kind of her logic to it. But she said that, like, weather forecasts are wrong all the time. And you're like, but it's a report of what happened. She's like, they're the same thing. That's why you need to use the picture of the crime scene with the snowmobile to show that it only came back once after it snowed. I knew that would show up sooner or later.
Yes, I had the key. I used the snowmobile to travel from Hazakura Temple to Dusky Bridge.
This is the part that was in question the other day. Should I ask for more details? Forget it about the snowmobiles, about the tracks. Yeah. Autopsy is here. This is one of those ones that they don't even have an expanded autopsy on. It's probably about the tracks, but maybe not. About the snowmobile? Get it. One of these is the thing it wants me to do, but I'm not sure. Let's try. Yeah, 10-11. Let me hear more about this snowmobile ride.
Well, it was very cold that night.
You can press choice, don't forget. Yeah, I know I can always come back to.
So I rode it all the way to the foot of the bridge.
I'm sorry, witness, but now I've got a problem with your testimony. No, you don't. Okay.
Excuse me?
Godot, what are you up to now? That night, after they had not left the remainder of the training to you, she said she walked from the inner temple back to Hazakura Temple.
Yes, I'm fairly certain that's what the record indicates.
Let's recall her comments on the subject, you mother...
Maybe, but when I made it back to Hazakura Temple, it was there by the main gate, the snowmobile, I mean.
I gave Sister Bikini that voice, not knowing that she would be the one witness that the game would flash back the most to random asides. That's not true. I think they've done it more with Old Bag in the past. But she's up there. This snowmobile was in front of the main gate. This is one of those contradictions, wouldn't you say?
Order! Mr. Godot, why are you pointing out contradictions in the witness's testimony?
Let's just say I like things to be neat and tidy, okay?
Um, well, maybe S- Sister Bikini missed it. Yes, maybe she didn't see it.
You think she missed it? That doesn't sound right. Ah, whatever. Even I don't think this is decisive enough to warrant any more time or effort. It's just, you'd better be careful in your testimony. That's all I wanted to say. A smart little cookie like you shouldn't have any trouble understanding that.
Yes, sir.
What was that all about? Why would Godot want to give me a hint?
Very well then, let's continue with the testimony. So you transported the body by snowmobile, all the way to the Hazakura Temple courtyard.
Yes, I thought that way Mystic Maya would never be suspected. That's what I thought anyway. And then
It's nice that you don't have to do all the work. The game lets the prosecutor do something other than be a roadblock.
I used the Shichishito to alter the way the wound looked.
Look, I'm sure this is the only thing Godot has done in this case, besides also be the prosecutor. Is that what you were doing when Sister Bikini saw you? Reminds me of Edgeworth that one time.
Yes, that's right. She probably thought the worst.
Yeah, I think it's the second day of the Steel Samurai case. When you get that indication that maybe he's coming around to your idea of looking for the truth and everything. And then the DL6 incident comes up in the fourth case in that game. It's like, whoa.
Is that what she probably thought the worst?
Probably. More like definitely.
I see. So Sister Bikini mistakenly thought you were the one that murdered Miss Snowman.
I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. It's my fault that this case has gotten so confusing.
I don't want to believe it, but I don't think my logic is failing me. Especially in Justice for All's final case. Oh, yeah. Well, in Justice for All's final case, too, Edgeworth is also benefiting from the fact that you're actually going to let him win for once. I don't know how much that is actually him working, but no. No, that's still really good when they're working back and forth. And obviously, you get to be your own dick to Matt Ongard, so it still works out. And yeah, I do think these games actually feel really good when both sides work together to figure out the truth. Yeah. For me, the key to that, though, is... because those are when the game works the best. I feel like it needs to be earned, though. And thus the prosecution needs to have worked for it. Like, I'd need to have felt the antagonism earlier. If I ever get around to streaming the Apollo Justice Trilogy, you're gonna hear that come up a fair bit when I complain about the fact I don't actually like Clavier that much. I want to believe it, but I don't think my logic is failing me. Iris is trying to pin the murder on Maya. But why would she want to do that? There's only one reason I can think of. All right. All right. We asked about the snowmobile earlier. Let's ask about the tracks. If you really did move her body by snowmobile, then there should be tracks left in the snow, right?
Well, yes, naturally you would expect tracks.
This picture was presented at yesterday's trial. Are these the tracks from that ride?
Yes, I think they are.
But I can only see one set of tracks here.
I don't see what's so strange about that. Snow was still falling when I left Hazakura Temple.
I see. Snow was still falling, huh?
And then when the murder took place, it already stopped.
Oh boy, was that picture presented. Yeah, that happens during the first trial day. It's a lot until Larry completely destroys everything when he does his picture.
That's why there are such fresh-looking tracks.
How about it, Mr. Wright? What do you think about this testimony?
Well, we didn't change anything earlier, so it must be very important. When the murder took place, the snow had already stopped. That doesn't make sense if you stack it up against the other evidence. Your Honor, I like the statement Iris just made added to the testimony.
But does it have something to do with the case?
All will be made clear if you allow her statement to be added to the record. Ah, this should be fun. $63. Bluffing always makes me feel powerful. It's when Phoenix is kind of at his best. Let's get this snow business cleared up, shall we?
Yes, sir. By the time the murder took place, the snow had already stopped.
There have been a lot of contradictions in your testimony so far. This time, are you sure it's all true?
Yes, I am.
When the murder happened, the snow had already stopped. According to you, that's why the snowmobile tracks were so clear.
That's right. I'm certain of it.
I think I've trapped her this time. I see how you think. Snow, huh?
What is going on here?
If the snow really had stopped by the time of the murder, it'd mean there's a bigger hole in her story than that movie The Grid Revelations. This is truly the most random pop culture reference they have thrown into the localization of this game. The Matrix Revolutions. Oh. Man. Even then, though. Also, thank you, Astro 2. I definitely did not figure that out. I know, like, why? Man. Ha! Well then, Mr. Wright, perhaps you'd like to share your theory with us? Let's see what's up your sleeve, or rather, at the end of your index finger. Felt like it. Question marks? I don't want to believe it, but I don't think... Yeah, okay. Okay. So, how's beauty pen? By the time the murder took place, the snow had already stopped. Alright. So, this is one of those things where it's actually a good thing we've looked at this before, right? Because very clearly, we want to care about the snow. But, and I'm realizing now, the game gave us 2 clues about this, actually. Because when you do the snowmobile, we had Godot kind of like, the way he did a contradiction for that and focused on that. He's trying to misdirect this here. Because I think the thing here is, the important part of the weather data here is not the snow, but it's the lightning happening here. So if the snow stopped at 10:50, like if we say the murder stopped then, which is fair, it's fine, that's right. It makes it remind me all the way across Dusky Bridge. So I think this is one of those times when we have a new statement. I don't think we have to put the evidence on this statement, though. I think it's so that we have this contradiction here, finally. I think. Let me save, though. Because I will admit, this is one of the trials that I feel like gets the most squirrely, where it's like, I see the shape of what you want me to do. I know there's something wrong here. What does the game want me to say? Does the evidence clearly reveal a contradiction? So yeah. Lightning struck the Dusky Bridge at 10:45. Around 30 minutes. So, like, I mean, maybe Iris was a badass and she fireman carried that body all the way across, but yeah. This is a sneaky one. Not actually a huge fan of this one. But I think that might be the case for this one, where it's more complicated. The first day, they go a little easy on you. For most of those. I think I got one wrong then anyway, so. You claim that the snow had already stopped when the murder occurred. But I'm sorry, Iris. That just isn't possible. What? This is the weather data from the night of the murder. According to this, the snow didn't stop until 10:50 p.m. But you couldn't have crossed Dusky Bridge at that time.
Why do you say that?
Because 5 minutes before the snow stopped, Dusky Bridge was struck by lightning and it caught on fire.
What did you say? The bridge? It was on fire?
You don't mean to say you didn't know about it? It was because of that lightning strike that the bridge burned down.
What? But it can't be.
Looks like you still haven't figured it out. No matter how hard you try to deceive or conceal the truth, you can't pull the wool over the eyes of a real defense attorney.
No.
Border.
The bridge was already on fire when the incident took place. That's right. The inner temple was already totally cut off from the outside world. There's no way you could have crossed the bridge, body or no body.
Witness. Even my patience has its limits. Any further lying and I will find you in contempt of court. Do you have anything to say for yourself?
The only person here that is truly contemptible is you. God damn you, Godot. Old man. 244, and he got a coffee there too. Which Ace Attorney game has the best soundtrack? I have a hard time weighing on this because, and I'm going to be honest there, I'm one of those monsters who doesn't really notice a soundtrack that well. Like here I'll notice, like I'll always have my favorite bits and I'll hum along and I like them when they're currently happening. But for some reason, I don't think of them as distinct enough that way. Like they just kind of blend into the moment for me. And it probably doesn't help that a lot of these games I would have absorbed as handhelds when they first came out. And I was less likely to listen to those closely in the first place. You say Justice for All. Are there any that I would really say stand out? Like the first game has the ones that are like they're ones that are going to be the most used, right? Because a lot of times, even if they don't bring them back fully, other songs they adapt, they'll be leitmotifs. I also feel like I think Great Ace Attorney had some parts that I really enjoyed. But that might have been just the fact that that second game improved my opinion so much. It had a lot of things that benefited it. But yeah, I don't really think I have a strong preference either way. I've liked all of it so far, but...
Me? How dare you?
Whether this witness lied or not doesn't mean squat right now. I mean, what? Squat? The important thing now is to find out the truth. Isn't that right?
Yes, of course, but...
Whether it was snowing or not snowing, or whether the bridge was burning or not. There are two facts that can't be disputed. First, The body of Elistonium was discovered in the Hazakura temple courtyard. And second, they had none, Sister Bikini. Witnessed Iris desecrating Elistonium's body. He makes a good point on both accounts.
That's right. I'm not lying.
What are you claiming this time?
I wasn't myself at all that night, so my memory is still somewhat hazy.
You have stood at that witness stand and testified this entire time. Are you telling us now that your memory of that night is hazy? Man, Godot has such a deep English voice. Objection. I mean, he's not anywhere near Manfred von Karma, who is voiced by a demon, but... It is only human to err. If you're so perfect, Wright, maybe you can explain this for the court. What is it? When the murder happened, the bridge had already burnt down. But somehow the body traveled across the bridge and was found in the temple courtyard. She really wasn't herself, I'll give her that. Perhaps you have some kind of perfect explanation for this little magic trick. Well, not exactly, no. I know there must be some other way she got across that burnt out bridge. But unless I can somehow demonstrate it, we'll never know the truth.
It looks like the defense is not prepared to offer a suitable explanation.
Do you have an explanation? Someone built a snow ram and did a sick jump over the gorge. Oh, we have an explanation, alright. But it is not an explanation Phoenix wants to admit to. And it's definitely not one that Edgeworth wanted to admit to when it came up. You see what I mean? In other words, you are in no position to suggest that this lady's testimony isn't the truth. Ah. Oh wow, it's already past 2 my time.
Alright then, witness, let's hear your testimony once more.
About what, Your Honor?
You've admitted that you moved the victim's body. Nevertheless, your prior testimony contained a rather large inconsistency. Please add an explanation for that to your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor.
Will this be her final testimony? Alright. That might mean this is it for this part. Moving the body.
Other than walking over the bridge, there's no way to move the body. So I must have just gotten confused, I guess? Was the snow still falling or had it stopped? Does it really matter that much? Or are you saying that there is a way to cross a burning bridge?
So it was just a misunderstanding, I say.
This is a photo of Dusky Bridge after it burned down from the lightning blast. It was taken on the morning after the incident.
It certainly was burned to a crisp band. One of the suspension wires even snapped. It's amazing the whole bridge didn't fall.
Snapped, you say?
Really, it would be impossible to carry a corpse across a bridge in this condition.
Dusky Bridge photo added to the court record. Unless I do something to discredit this testimony, it's going to be deemed as the truth, and Maya will be accused of murder. Try it. I'm only going to say it one more time. It is only human to err, and only humans can spot the errors of our ways. The more sense he makes, the less sense he makes.
All right, Mr. Wright. Please begin your final cross-examination.
Moving the body. And let's actually look at this too. Taken the morning after the crime. Yes. I don't remember if this is where Phoenix puts 2 and 2 together, that the picture that Larry drew, he was upside down for.
Other than walking over the bridge, there's no way to move the body.
Yes, but if the snow had already stopped when the incident took place...
I couldn't have crossed the bridge, naturally. But I think it's just like Mr. Godot said. The body did make it across somehow.
Oh, I see. You're aware. Yeah, I'm not playing these for the first time. I've played. Well, I think there was like. I think Captain revealed that there was like a weird mobile game for Gumshoe. I've not touched that. I think I've played every other game. I think I even played the Light and Phoenix Wright crossover. I barely remember that one. I played this ages ago. And I'll admit, there was like a solid half of this game I forgot. I remember why Larry's picture is the way it is. Because I'm not sure what part it is, but I think I was stuck on that as ages playing through it because I just could not figure out how the game wanted me to figure it out.
So I must have just gotten confused, I guess.
But you seemed to be quite sure of yourself when you gave your testimony. You said you were sure the snow had already stopped.
I'm terribly sorry. I was wrong.
Does she really think an apology is going to get her off the hook? I mean, she's pretty cute, it might.
Was the snow still falling or had it stopped? Does it really matter that much?
The lady in Ace Attorney Trilogy gave Maya a voice, right? By giving her an objection. See, I can believe that, but I don't remember either way. As I said, that was a while ago. And it was alright. I don't... Professor Layton puzzles are weird to me. Oh yeah, it said Trilogy there. Yeah, Layton Ace Attorney game. You're right, though. I mean, no wonder you would. I mean, there's this trilogy. There's the Apologist Trilogy. The other two games they released as collections. This is no joke. You're giving sworn testimony in a court of law.
Well, Mr. Wright, let me ask you a question. Do you remember what the weather was like 1 week ago today?
Huh? Well, naturally, it was,
You see? It's not that easy to remember, is it?
But if it had been some kind of a special day, I would have remembered. For example, it was pouring rain on the day of my elementary school graduation. I'm familiar is the anime when it first aired, so I'm also on like 10-year-old recollection. No one wants to hear about your childhood traumas, right? What? That was such a random objection. Ooh, 247.
By the time the murder took place, the snow had already stopped.
If you insist on obsessing over that one statement, let's see the proof. Show some evidence that the body somehow crossed the bridge while it was on fire.
Or are you saying that there is a way to cross a burning bridge?
Well, I don't see why there couldn't be a way across.
Mr. Wright, don't you think that sounds a bit silly? A dead body crossing a burning bridge. Did anyone actually witness such a thing?
Ah, if there was, I don't think you'd call someone like that a witness. After all, a dream isn't the same as actually seeing something. I've come all this way, so I owe it to everyone to figure this out. But how do you transport a body across a burning bridge? Even if I don't know the exact answer yet, it's okay. I'll start by examining all of my evidence and see where that takes me. I've got to be like a shark if I don't keep moving. I'm as good as dead. It is astounding to me that this is one of the things they go out of their way to make sure you understand what it is. Even though this is like, I would argue that except for maybe the snowmobile tracks, and I think this is just the biggest part of the first trial day, is Larry's sketch. And the game is like, but what if they don't remember it? What if they, like Phoenix, repress their knowledge of Larry Butts? A dead body flying over a burning bridge. I wouldn't exactly rule out the possibility.
What?
Ha! You're saying it's possible? Don't make me laugh. Damn, Godot, you've had like 13 cups of coffee, bro. The only thing that's possible about your claim is that it's been pulled out of thin air. You mean Larice Stoneham? Thank you. Hey man, you're right. Need to. It was Larice Stoneham, as he would sometimes remember to insist on being called. I don't know about that. In any case, we have a witness who did see it happen.
Preposterous. Who is it? Who is this witness?
I can't chicken out here. I've got to keep on the attack and go, go, go. Miss Elise Stonham's brilliant and highly gifted apprentice, Larice Stoneham.
Brilliant?
Highly gifted apprentice? Remember what he said in his testimony. That night he was at the Mountain Shack, Heavenly Hall, and that's when he witnessed the event. I think you've all seen this sketch before. It's an exact drawing of what he witnessed that night.
Are you serious? Today's not April Fool's Day, is it?
Is there an M in there that I've been missing? No, it's Nim and I am. Today's not April Fool's Day, is it? No, it is February, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, are you seriously claiming that the victim flew through the air? And you're using this pathetic scribble to support your argument?
Uh-oh. The judge looks like he's about to blow a gasket. Judge, you've accepted worse evidence. Don't play. I was right. Why do I doubt myself? Human brains are dumb things most of the time. Ah, well tried. There's nowhere for you to hide now. Other than looking like it was drawn by a 6-year-old. Does this sketch prove anything? Yes. I'm pretty sure it does, and I'm going to prove it. Listen, I know your tricks. You're trying to turn this whole thing upside down. If you're so eager to turn this case upside down, why not start with this sketch? Upside down? Why did Godot say that? I'm always right at first, not that which steers me wrong. Yeah.
All right, then. Let's hear the defense's theory. What exactly is this sketch trying to show?
I don't think old Whiskerface is going to forgive any more mistakes. All right, Phoenix. Look carefully and think it over. This sketch drawn by Larice Stoneham is evidence of nothing, a complete contradiction, exactly what happened. So, Godot gave us the hint like twice in a row, because I guess the game has decided that at this point, it's like, you're kind of deep in here, we need to make sure you don't have an issue. Well, what do I say exactly what happened? I'm worried that, because the point, we need to turn it upside down. Something is obviously funny about this sketch.
Well, I'm a harsh critic, but even I could see that.
No, that's not what I mean, Your Honor. Larice Stoneham stated over and over that this sketch was exactly as he saw it. However, if we're to believe his testimony, then the sketch contradicts reality as we know it. It contradicts reality? Ah, this is getting interesting. Looks like you're back to that finger-pointing thing again. Okay, try. So what exactly contradicts reality as we know it? Technically, is it this one? Or is it, do we want me to do this one? It's probably the one on the left, right? It's got to be this one. Because if we look at the picture of... Oh, I can't look at the picture. But when you turn it around, this is the one that... I feel like both work. Maybe it is both. It's this wire connected to the bridge.
The wire?
Ah, is that the thing that contradicts reality? It is indeed. Then show us the reality it supposedly conflicts with. Show us something that will point out how the sketch contradicts reality. Bro, you just gave it to us 5 minutes ago.
That's a photo of Dusky Bridge, correct?
The thing is, it's not supposed to be up there at all, so like it makes sense for both to work. Ah, you know what? You're right. I think I was getting ahead of myself while I was thinking about the fact that showing both of the suspension wires there in the first place, when one of them we see is hanging down. But you're right. It's just the fact that they're up and not down. See, this is why a lot of times I get stuck in these games. I fortunately have a buffer against that, having played it before, but... Yes, now compare the sketch and the photo for a minute. In the sketch, the wires appear to be above the guard wires. But on the actual Dusky Bridge,
Don't bring your house a flat.
the wires are below the guard wires. What? Godot, you were telling us to turn it upside down. Stop acting, man.
Border. This sketch is somewhat different than what's depicted in the photo. However, isn't it likely that the artist just saw it wrong?
Or perhaps he just drew it wrong.
Either way, it sounds like you're just wrong. With someone like Laurice, I admit a mistake is a definite possibility. But then that begs the question, why did he make a mistake? What was the reason? Oh, man, right time to get ahead. Here we go. Are you saying you know the answer to that? Listen, think back, alright? Remember what Laurice was doing when he witnessed this event. He was at Heavenly Hall waiting for a lover that was never going to come. He waited and waited, and finally he laid down. Oh yeah, I bet Larry's always waiting for lovers that never get to come with him. But then, lightning shoots from the sky and sets the bridge aflame. Now ponder what sort of position Laurice must have been in at the time. He was lying on his back, which is why he remembered the scene the way he did.
He was lying on his back? I can't see how it relates.
But it does, Your Honor. That is the reason why the wires in the sketch go up instead of down.
Ah,
Erg, no way. Laurice Donan witnessed the event while he was lying on his back, face up. In other words, the scene that he saw was actually upside down.
so that the sketch should actually...
I think you finally get it, Your Honor. The correct way to view Laurice Donham's sketch is like this. This is how it should actually look. The victim's body wasn't flying above the bridge. It was actually swinging below. That's right. Just like a pendulum.
Ridiculous. Order.
Of all the things to say, a pendulum? No, this is this. 249. The bridge was burning to a crisp. There was no way to get across it. But if the body had been found at the inner temple, it would have caused problems. This is where the criminal decided to take a gamble. They used the burning bridge to get the body across to the other side. And a pendulum was the only way to get it done. 250. Let's think about this for a minute, shall we? A Dusky Bridge is about 20 yards long, which means it's about that far from the inner temple to the opposite cliff. Yes, that sounds right. In order to cover that distance with a pendulum, you need a rope at least 10 yards long. To get a rope that long, you have to plan ahead. Objection 251. The lightning strike that night can only have been an accident, so it doesn't make sense that the culprit would have prepared the rope beforehand. So then, they didn't have to get the rope ready. The rope was already right in front of them. What? I'm saying that it was just a matter of using what was already there.
In that case, Mr. Wright, please give us an explanation to support your theory. What makes you think the criminal had the rope on hand to create a pendulum?
The photo he presented, dog.
And the meaning of this is...
If you want to know where the rope came from, it's hanging right there in front of your glorious beard.
Ah, this is one of the wires from the bridge.
When the lightning struck the bridge and set it on fire, one of the suspension wires came loose from its anchor. The criminal didn't have any time to waste, so they tied the wire around Elise Donim's body. Because there was simply no other way to move the body. Ah! Although they give you glug sounds, I don't know why I did that. Smoothest animation.
Mr. Godot?
How much coffee is in that mug?
It seems that Mr. Godot is more focused on his coffee than answering my question. It seems that the odds of a rope being readily available were very high, so I suppose that it's not an impossibility after all.
Possible or impossible? That's not the question we need to ask. There's only one question. Did that really happen? 252. Try it. I wonder if you can prove what happened to us. Do you have any actual evidence that the body was swung over like a pendulum? Is this the autopsy report? Because we know the body fell 10 feet after death, so... Before I present my evidence, let me review what we know so far. According to this photo, one of the wires snapped. Looking at the map, you can see it's the one that was in front of the inner temple. Oh, you know what? I bet it would have also accepted, I bet it would have accepted the crystal sphere too, because Larry found it on the side of the bridge after the body dropped. Looking at the map, we can see it's the one that was in front of the inner temple.
So then, what was the spot where the criminal...
I used the sphere. Ah, okay. Honestly, the sphere is probably the better piece of evidence. But they took the autopsy report, so it worked out for me. Yes, precisely. Now let us consider the body's movement by looking at the overhead map again. If the body was pushed from this point here, it would drop on the opposite bank at approximately this point.
Did you say drop?
Well, they must have failed to catch the body on the other bank.
What? What makes you think something like that happened?
Because I have evidence that suggests her body dropped some distance.
What kind of evidence?
Take a look at this autopsy report. It says here that her body fell about 10 feet after her death.
10 feet, huh?
That's most likely the height difference between the two sides. The body overswung due to forward momentum, but then came loose and fell about 10 feet. And then, as a result of the landing impact, this crystal sphere was knocked loose.
That's...
Yes, this blood-stained amethyst crystal. It's the one that came off of Miss Elise Donim's staff. And even more important is the place where this crystal sphere was found. Thank you, more workers. The autopsy always points some shit out. Oh yeah. Especially when you have the actual autopsy and not a fake autopsy. Right, Edgeworth from the first case of the first game? Not the first case, the second case of the first game.
Well, indeed. I believe it's already marked on this overhead map. The crystal was found. Oh,
Precisely, Your Honor. In the very spot where the pendulum would arrive, if given the right amount of speed.
this explains your theory quite well, Mr. Wright. You provided us with a way the body could have been moved that night. An impressive deduction, Mr. Wright. Most impressive. Oh, Mr. Wright.
I thought this cold coffee might help cool you down. You got yourself pretty fast. It was going to be nerd ass. Yeah. Well, because that's really like the first actual case, because it's not a tutorial case, but at least it's cold this time. Yeah. Oh, it's also amazing it's cold because we didn't see him get a new coffee.
What is the meaning of this, Mr. Godot?
Ah, but this is a new coffee. That was a dark and bitter guess that you may try, but you forgot about one thing.
Oh, and what would that be?
Is the aroma. Huh? A coffee's most reliable accomplice is its deep and profound aroma. Boy, it's so tough. Godot's not going to give up on this case. The rest of the court doesn't speak coffeenese. Can you elaborate a bit more? Is the criminal that sends the body to the other side, like you say? Then naturally, there must have been an accomplice lying in wait to catch it.
An accomplice?
The criminal wasn't able to cross Dusky Bridge. So, who collected the body? What do you have to say about that? Try it. The coffee counter is so tough.
Mr. Godot is correct. This can't be the work of a single person. Well, Mr. Wright, you know what you must do.
Yes, Your Honor. The body couldn't have made it to Hazakura Temple without an accomplice.
Very well done. If you please, Mr. Wright. Who was the person that received the body on the Hazakura Temple side?
Alright. So I think the trick here is that we still need to say it's Iris. Because she was on that side. Unless it's time to do the Dahlia Hawthorne, but I don't think it's Dahlia Hawthorne time yet. We're working up to this. Yeah, doesn't Iris look like someone? Or do you think I have to go for Dahlia right now? I think it's Iris now, and then we talk about Dahlia. But yeah. I do appreciate, like, because I mentioned here, because we already had sisters looking like each other, but they did it with plastic surgery in the second game. But like, in a game like this, where you want to conserve assets where you can, using twins is such an easy and right call to make. I think it works here too because it's got that pulp feel to it. It can only be you, Sister Iris.
Huh? But I
don't see why you're so surprised. The only way to transport the body from Dusky Bridge is by snowmobile. But with her bad back, Sister Bikini could never pick up a body like that. You're the only one that could have managed it. Try it. Were you even listening to the witness's testimony? 253. On the night of the crime, this little cutie pie was on cleanup duty in the inner temple garden after the mother-daughter blood bath. Wonder how I figured out who was channeling Dahlia? Oh? How did you figure it out? Oh, up to 254. I haven't forgotten, but have you, Mr. Godot? This witness was also seen at Hazakura Temple. Desecrating the corpse of the victim. Hair color. Ah, that is a good way. Because that's one of the things. You know, and the funny thing is, I'm trying to think if that's come up at all in this game, and I don't think it has. When Pearl channels Mia, her hair is like Rambo. When Maya channels her, it's black. Yeah. Like, I don't actually even think the game draws your... Like, maybe it does it later when it happens. I don't think it's drawn it early, though. Oh, it's always weird to think about when Pearl channels Mia. Because her body... Oh, that cannot be healthy for her. But I guess that's what the spiritual power does. Desecrating the corpse of the victim.
Strange indeed. It's almost as if, on that night, the defendant was in 2 different places at the same time.
Sister Iris, let me ask you something. Why didn't you mention it when you first gave your testimony?
Mention what?
The pendulum, of course. Using this sketch drawn by an eyewitness, I've established how the body was moved during the burnt-out bridge. Which means it's now a fact that this occurred. Something you should have already known.
No, I had no idea.
I saw his hair and I was like, hey, isn't Maya's hair black?
I didn't know anything about a pendulum.
But the body couldn't have been passed along to the other side without your help, so you should have known about it. In fact, it'd be impossible for you to be clueless about this whole thing, unless you're not really Iris to begin with.
What? How can you say that, Mr. Wright?
What? What kind of nonsense is this? You're saying this witness isn't Iris of Hazakura Temple?
Are you serious, Wright? You mean this woman is... There's no one besides Iris that could have received the corpse that night. Now I get it. Now I know why I've been sick to my stomach this whole trial. Why her whole demeanor changed so suddenly from yesterday. And why she's trying to pin this murder on Maya. Which I guess means technically I should have changed her voice for this, but I think it's fine that I didn't. I love Iris so much. I mean, we also got the clue too that she mentioned Dahlia hated our guts. Although admittedly, you don't quite know that's a clue yet. That's more something that comes at the end. Nah, she'd commit to the voice. The woman that's standing there at the witness stand. Her real name is... Morgan Fitnow. Although I guess technically we could... Well, that's fine. I never thought I'd have to utter your name again. She's pretending to be Iris. She's done enough of these to know to be convincing. It is true. Even though she's actually not super subtle, but I guess this is the point when she knows it, like, really matters, because this is, like, her only chance to do this. I never thought I'd have to utter your name again, let alone see you. It's been a long time. Dahlia Hawthorne.
Hawthorne?
Sister Iris had a twin sister. And you're looking at her, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
That name rings some bells. Distant bells, but bells nonetheless.
Ah, it's just your imagination, Gramps. This file contains all the relevant data about Dahlia Hawthorne.
Oh yes, I remember now. That case. 5 years ago.
I guess I'll just do it.
My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I just want to say, it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence.
The honor is all mine.
No, the honor is all mine.
God damn it, Judge. Why did you simp for her right away?
But, according to this, Dahlia Hawthorne It's already dead. It says her execution was carried out last month.
So what? That has no meaning in this courtroom.
What? Order, order, order.
Wait a moment. How can you? My sister, she's already dead. What kind of?
You of all people should already understand. After all, the blood of the master of the crane channeling technique flows within that body. Feeny knows all about it.
The crane channeling technique? Now where have I heard that?
That's right. You're not Dahlia Hawthorne herself. You're the spirit of Dahlia, currently inhabiting the body of a spirit medium. What an exciting story. Exciting, but quite impossible. Oh, 68. You're asking us to buy as that Dahlia Hawthorne just happened to be channeled by someone on the very night of the murder to a temple where her twin sister Iris was. Well, if you're going to put things that way, then yes. We're supposed to believe a coincidence like that just happens. And then up to 258. Naturally, it was no coincidence. Well, that's stupid small. The whole thing was part of a plan from the very beginning. It's all written right here in these instructions.
Oh, what's that?
These instructions were written by your mother, Morgan Fay. How tall is Maya? She might be a spirit medium after all. I think she's decently on the small size. She might have grown between this and the sequel trilogy. I know a part of her definitely grew at least. I'm not sure if that would have been her height though. A part of the plan called for Dahlia Hawthorne to be channeled. That night, there were 2 irises at Hasakura Temple. Two of them? Even the time of the channeling was planned out. As soon as you hear the lights out burn. In other words, 10 o'clock p.m. Does her hair make her taller? Not really. But it adds to the profile at least. However, Iris was seen before dinner time.
That means the Iris that was at dinner was the real Iris.
And the Iris who gave me this hood in the main hall was also the real Iris. Meaning that the Iris Sister Bikini saw at the inner temple was someone else dressed as her, namely one Dahlia Hawthorne. Do you even know what you're saying, Tribe? This whole channeling the spirit of Dahlia Hawthorne business. Yes, it's true that you found plans that talk about it. However, there's one thing that's perfectly clear. The witness currently standing in the witness stand is the real Iris. What? Oh, you got a coffee too. That's a nice amount of coffees he's gone. Calm down and remember what you know about the night of the crime. After meeting Sister Bikini, the Dahlia Hawthorne that had been channeled would have been stranded at the inner temple due to the lightning strike. Man, Godot, it's really silly that you don't know the thing I'm about to bring up. It was later that the body was moved by pendulum. That's right. Naturally, that would mean that the Iris that receives the body was the real Iris. Are you with me so far? Yes. After being notified of what happened, the police came to Hasakura Temple's main hall. There they found Iris in her room and arrested her. And ever since, she's been under police supervision at the detention center. Yes, I suppose. I can't deny any of that. Except...
Well, thank goodness. It looks like he's finally convinced.
Damn. She was not this good earlier. I guess... Yeah, I know. Phoenix can't deny it. We're going to have to throw Miles under the bus, but it's okay. He does that to Gumshoe enough. She got way better. I guess in jail you have time to practice. But something still seems off. Way off. I'm still not convinced that the iris here is the same one from the other night. Ah, I suppose you're about to say something really ridiculous. Like the real iris and the spirit of Dahlia somehow switched places.
Switch places. To be perfectly honest, there are still quite a few things I don't understand, but I do know that unless we confirm the witness's identity, we can't continue with this trial.
Iris doesn't have the spiritual power needed to channel Dahlia, which means they must have switched places somewhere.
Well, Mr. Wright, since the time she was arrested at Hazakura Temple, have there been any chances for Iris to switch places with Dahlia Hawthorne?
There was one. Your Honor, I think there might have been one chance.
Oh? Explain yourself.
Yesterday, for a few minutes, Iris's whereabouts were unknown. Unknown? What do you mean? What I mean is, there was a span of time in which Iris was able to move about freely, unsupervised.
Well, who was it? Who would give a murder suspect time to move about freely like that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I know you didn't mean to. It wasn't your fault. The person who gave Iris the chance to freely move about was... an old friend.
This is Mr. Edgeworth, isn't it?
Your Honor, there was a fairly large earthquake yesterday, was there not?
An earthquake?
It wasn't Larice. No one expects Larry/Larice to be responsible for something.
Oh, earthquake! Oh my goodness! The inner temple! This kind of tremor might...
How could I have? She fled. She escaped. We went to the inner temple right away. And it's true, Iris was already there. However, they had already switched places by that point in time. When I arrived at the training hall, I was met by none other than Dahlia Hawthorne.
That's quite enough already, Mr. Wright. Now see here. No judge in his right mind would consider the idea of spirit channeling and...
Be quiet. It's been a long time, Mr. Judge.
That voice.
Guess I'll have to ask again. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, I always ask for her name and profession. I'd like to point out we started at 53. Godot is on his 17th cup of coffee. That's one of my rules. The one of them he threw on. Thanks. Dahlia Hawthorne. And my current profession, permanently retired. Ah. So you're not going to bother hiding your identity anymore, huh? Why should I? After all, I'm dead. There's really nothing you can do to punish me.
What is going on here?
Dahlia Hawthorne. Never thought we'd meet again. I never thought we'd meet like this. You know, weirdly, I think it's because when she's Dahlia and it's her own body, I was more into the whole, like, look down on me thing. It feels dirtier now. Also, since we've met Iris, who is just a cutie. But this time, I'll end it. For her. And for myself. To be continued. Oh boy. That went long. Uh, I underestimated. I remember this being a doozy of a case. I don't think it would take me that long. Um, but it is late, and I need to rest. I ran out of tea a little bit ago, and even though it's been an easier night on my voice, uh, it, I'm hitting my limit. So even if I did have the time, which I don't, I would have had to call it here. But hey, thanks for hanging out for me. This is such a nice case. This might still be my favorite, although the final case of the investigations collection is really good too. And there's a couple other really good ones too, obviously. The fourth and fifth case in the first game, the final case of the second game. I really like the DLC case from the fifth game. That one's a lot of fun. I think that is actually my favorite standalone case in the entire series. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. I'm going to bed, and the rest of you should too. Unless you're in a place where it's not bedtime, in which case go have your day though. Good night.